lot in the last 2 years. We started I was an Ironman guy, so I've raced Kona a couple of times, not super fast, but I'm fast enough. So what we came to the conclusion is that there's a lot of good products on the marketplace, but they're just difficult because you've got to use a system. I mean, First Endurance is a really good product line. The Europeans are actually better at nutrition than the American guys are, but anybody's system out there is difficult because it's drinks and gels and salt pills and food, and it's just very difficult to manage. And even so, we've been on the isotonic train for about 10 years, way before Stacy with the Osmo product goes. The whole concept of isotonic just means that your body doesn't have to process it. If you don't know, it's a density property, so if something's too thin or too thick, your body has to do something to what's in your gut. And the situation that you want is to have the correct amount of calories and salt in your gut that your body doesn't have to process at all. And that's going to give you guys the least amount of stress. The whole, drink in your bottle, food in your pocket mantra is kind of crazy because as soon as you put food in your gut, everything goes differently, and you have no idea what's going on. So we were the product. I worked with Alan Lim for 5 years with the Garmin squad. We were the product that the Garmin team used for 5 years because what we do is really simple. We're putting enough calories in your bottles and enough salt in your bottles, and Mike and Molly will tell you our flavoring's not real strong. We're much more European. We're low sweetness, a little salty, because real life is that stuff sits in your bottles for 3 hours and it's 95 degrees, and then it all tastes terrible. I mean, most of the products are too sweet, and anything that gets warm it's just impossible to get down, so you're screwed at that point. So our stuff tastes good warm. Would you agree? It's still very drinkable if you think about it. On an Ironman course, you can drink the chicken soup anytime, any temperature, and it still goes down. So that little bit of salt in there will make things go down. Sweet, I gag on gels. Even the unflavored gels make me gag. So that was the whole concept of the company, was to put everything in your bottle, ensure that it's isotonic, make it taste the way you guys want to taste it, and then you should be self-sufficient. I know in talking to Mike, and Molly, you can be honest here, that really our product is designed to be everything you need in your bottle. So you really won't need gels, salt pills, food, nothing. And go ahead and feel free to jump in here, because I mean, if you guys are using extra gels, that's fine. Are you 100%?
Sometimes with the back half of the Ironman, just for caffeine, but
okay.
I do concentrated bottles the whole race. I use nothing but Infinit, because I don't want to use a lot of yours.
Okay.
Ever.
All right.
Because I know that it's going to not cause any problems.
Right.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same way. I ended up using Velcro and Velcro the 3M side onto my frame, and then used a couple of bottles of our flask and used the napalm as my gels, and had one there and one in my side pocket, and then at special needs I just grabbed like 3 more bottles of Infinit and put them in there, and then obviously been sitting out of the fridge since like 4 in the morning, and not a problem with them at all.
Right.
And then the run I just did a couple flasks.
Napalm. So for the custom stuff is really where we'll go for the bike for you guys. So we'll be able to vary flavor levels, calorie load, amount of salt we're putting in there. We can vary the amount of protein. Protein we use as an appetite suppressant. That's the whole functionality I see to protein. And still keep it isotonic. So if you want to supplement with water, depending on your sweat rates, feel free to do so, but you don't have to take extra water. Literally, our stuff is drink your stuff and ride your bike. And for the run, the napalm product is, it's kind of like what it sounds. It's just a ton of sugar and caffeine and salt. It's pretty much what you need. At the end of the day, nutrition's not complicated. It's sugar and salt. It's not, there's no magic bullet out there that, dried turtle's blood or something's going to build endurance or anything. It's sugar and salt. And, we use 3 different carbohydrate sources. Maltodextrin is how we bulk calories. We use crystalline fructose, and then we use sucrose. So it's a combination, multiple carbohydrates, and in the napalm we actually use 4, and that maximizes oxidization rate. So you're going to absorb the most calories you can possible. So that's the whole premise of the company, is that we're an all-in-one, everything he needs in your bottle, and it really works. I mean, Chris Etaw, Josh Tostata, those are 24-hour mountain bike guys, Pua Sawicki, and they're doing 24s. We've had guys doing 48-hour races on Infinit alone. I wouldn't recommend that, but they do it because it's simple and they get... Yeah, no, it's a 48-hour bit called the Hobbit's Tail in Britain. Guy set a world record by 2 hours. He was 48 hours on Infinit. Ultraman, whatever you want to do with the product, it really goes a long way. So, and that's where we started. So we started with me answering the phones and making powder, and we've kind of grown to this point, which is really cool. So that's really what I'd like to do for you guys that are new. Ryan is right there. Ryan kind of runs our custom side of the business. We do have a wholesale side of the business, so if you're affiliated with a bike shop, any kind of introductions that you can make, is we're just starting to push that out. We have 10 years of data now that I know what male long course guys, I know what female short course people, and that's what our preset formulas are for the retail application. It's the same thing. Drink your stuff and ride your bike. It's just a preset formula that works for kind of that middle of the bell curve. So Ryan's the guy that's going to be working with you guys on the custom side for the bike. The napalm's great. You can do custom for a run if you'd like to do that. We do have access to nutritionists at the shop that are employed by us. So if you have specific nutritional needs, if you're vegan, if whatever, we can accommodate that as well. So we're a very customer-driven, high-touch shop, and we do take care of our customers. So the marketing plan for the year, we've just engaged a company called Bluestone, who's the same guys that work with Road ID, who they do the great ads with all the roadies. And so the new tagline for the shop, or for us, is going to be one drink, infinite possibilities. And that's going to encompass a couple of things. And in your social media, what I'd really like to have you guys start giving the feeling of is that's really addressing 2 things. It's your drink. It's your own personal custom drink. That is infinite in terms that can be formulated for any person. So one drink, infinite possibilities means it's whatever you need it to be and whatever's perfect for you. But the second component is the simplicity of what we do opens up a lot of unlimited potential as far as succeeding for qualifying for Kona, or winning a race, or winning your age group, or just finishing any of those. So it's twofold. It's the drink is infinitely customizable for you, but it also gives you infinite possibilities to succeed in whatever sport that you happen to be doing. So that's going to be our marketing message going forward. You'll start to see some stuff being pumped out by us, but if you guys in your social media and just talking about the concept of what we do, that's really what we want to start getting across. Does that make sense to you? Because it's kind of an emotional thing, and it's a logistical thing too. Just that, believe me, there's nothing better than going on a 6-hour bike ride and not having 10 gels and a pocket full of crap. It's awesome. It really is. And I know it's more of a psychological leap for you guys that haven't actually done the product, and I'm kind of talking to you. But go ride your bike. Kick the crap out of it. Go on a 6-hour bike ride just on Infinit, and you'll come back. It's like, I'm not hungry. I'm not bonky. My energy levels are good. I'm hydrated, and I can still drink it. I got a text from Mark Allen, his first 100-mile ride since he won Hawaii. First of all, it was really cool to get a text from Mark Allen when he's in France. But he said your product is really amazing, that it tastes better at the end of the ride than it does in the beginning of the ride. Which is, no, it doesn't. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. It's not like it tastes bad in the beginning. It's just you're not sure, but that your flavor perception changes when you're out there. Your blood flow increases. Running, I can smell people that are smoking in a car going by an hour into a run. Just your all your sensory changes and your taste changes as the ride. So we start pretty low flavor, but by the end it really settles in. It still tastes really good. So, you know, we're all athletes. Ryan is the actually Ohio Masters road and crit champion, so he can.
Last year I got the elite championship.
Okay, to be clear, Ryan's real fast. Ryan, the boy can ride a bike. I'm in a state of retirement, or I don't know. I'm kind of shut it down here for a while. I did plenty of Ironmans. I was tired of it. So, you know, we're all athletes. You know, Mark is an ex-pro mountain biker and skier, so we've got all athletes in the shop. So, you know, that's kind of where we come from. So if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. You know, I will take the Pepsi challenge against any product in the marketplace, anybody. And they all know who I am. It's a small group. I mean, I know the guys from First Endurance real well. Power Bar and us don't get along very well, but I get along pretty well with just about everybody else. So, you know, the product's really good. So I'm excited to work with you. Last year was terrific. I think we have a really good partnership with the team. And I'm looking forward to, you know, continuing to work for that. You guys had great success last year, and hopefully it happens again this year. Be good. So do you guys have any questions at all?
How do you test? I mean, you said it's all different based on.
Mhm.
How do you?
So for you guys, what I would recommend doing was I'd treat you guys just like regular customers, okay? I mean, you're not. But what I'd like you to do is go to the website and just schedule a nutritional consult. Any of your athletes that you happen to coach, any of your friends, anybody you deal with on social networking can do the exact same process that you would go through. So just go schedule a nutritional consult. It's free. Yeah, no charge. And there'll be a scheduling mechanism on there that you can pick the time, and then one of my guys, and it probably is Ryan, that's going to call you back in between 1:30 and 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, if whatever works for your schedule. And then we'll set you up. I mean, it's going to be a series of questions about, you know, muscle cramping, sweat rates, what kind of racing that you're doing, any allergies. You know, what we're doing is not overly complicated. It's not voodoo. It's just, as I said, sugar and salt. So it's just kind of dialing it in, which we're really good at. And then we'll get your formulas built for you. And then, you know, maybe you try them out and you come back and say, well, maybe I want a little less flavor or a little more salt. But it's tweaking. It's not big swings. We'll get it pretty close first time out. Yeah. Yeah. So it's flavor. We can adjust the blend of carbs, the ratio between maltodextrin and glucose. So if you're doing an Olympic, you probably want to go more glucose, which absorbs a lot faster than maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is typically bulk calories for long course stuff. And then how many calories, how much electrolyte, and then, you know, protein and caffeine. I'm a huge fan of caffeine, so yeah. We do. We have mocha, salted caramel, fruit flavors. Yeah, it's terrific. We do have some ancillary products. Mud. You Mud fan? Mud's a pre-workout meal replacement. It's chocolate and coffee and it is and flax. It is super tasty. It's delish. I mix it with almond coconut milk, and it tastes like a Mounds bar. It is good. So I'd like to take you through the same process we do for any athlete. And, you know, we're a really different company. But once you're done with us, you're done. You don't have to worry about anything on the course. And so it's really nice. So just sign up a nutritional consult. Just let Ryan know who you are. And then we'll take care of the rest of that. And then if you can write about that experience and, you know, because I do think it's what we offer. We don't lose many customers. It's just a question of letting people know what our capabilities are, because we're a really different company. Cincinnati, yeah, triathlon mecca of the world. California. Actually, if you take a look at where we ship all 50 states. We've got a customer base of probably 30,000. You know, we've grown a lot. Probably 60% triathletes, and the rest are endurance mountain bikers, and then some roadies sprinkled in. But California is our number 2 state. Florida, California, Colorado's 3rd. Texas is real big. Ohio is probably 4th or 5th. So that's kind of our push. But, you know, we work with coaches. We probably have 175 coaching groups that we work with just because we're another tool in their toolbox, rather than saying, hey, you know, I can give you product for 30% discount. Half your club will like it and half of them won't. You know, that's, and I don't care what product it is. Half of them will like it and half of them won't. With what we do, I'll do, and we're great with clubs, but I mean, I can do something for anybody, from a, you know, 92-pound female sprint person to a 240-pound male Ironman. I mean, we can adjust it to get it where they're perfect. So that's why we do really well with coaches, because we're another tool in their toolbox. A couple of things I'd like you guys to do, and I know you didn't expect homework, but you're going to get homework. Do a sweat rate test on yourself. Yeah. It's just there are 2 things that any athlete should know. Number 1 is how much you sweat on an hourly basis. That's going to change as you get fitter, and it'll also change depending on climate some. So just empty your bladder before you're doing a workout, and it could be in a trainer, that's fine. So empty your bladder and weigh yourself with no clothes on. Write the weight down, do your workout. After you're done, towel yourself off, empty your bladder again, and then re-weigh yourself. So you're apples to apples.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I did it like a 3-hour ride, and I think like you end up losing like 6 pounds or.
Yeah, just
You
take.
include that you also drink like 5 bottles
Right.
of water.
Keep track of how much you drank, and then just add how much you drank to the amount of weight that you lost, and divide by the number of hours. And it's going to give you a rough number, 24, 26, 28 ounces. But it's just a number you guys need to know, because then, you know, you got your calories from your Infinit, you're drinking a serving an hour, and then you just supplement with some water off the aid station. So then you're hitting your hydration numbers and you're hitting your calorie numbers at the same time. So that's really important. You just don't want to be 2 hours into an Ironman run and getting dehydrated, because it's not fun. Right.
We have the worksheet too, so if you guys send
Yeah.
it to
Yeah.
I have a quick question about caffeine.
Mhm.
Do you recommend using the same formula during training that exactly you use during a race, or do you kind of have one that's maybe similar from like the carbs and everything, but maybe a little more caffeine for a race? Because I know I try to save like excessive caffeine use for a race so that it has a little more potency, and I should not be having that much caffeine on a daily basis anyway. So, but you know.
Yes,
so
you
there's-
should, actually.
You know, that would not be good. So yeah, so I'm just curious if you think that I know it's beneficial to get your body used to what you're consuming
Right.
during training, but if there can be like a little bit of a modified one for.
Yeah, I think you ought to test it. I mean, just
Okay.
if you're doing a race sim, yeah, I would test it out, because, I mean, if you're pumping 150 milligrams of caffeine an hour, that can get people a little bit nauseous. So what I would just test it to make that you're all right. But my personal view is, and yours may be a bit different, but my personal view on it is that I look at caffeine like I do race wheels. Is I don't train on my race wheels. I don't train in my race kit because I want things to feel different on race day. You know, caffeine is something that definitely works, but there's a psychological component to it too. Is like, I don't use caffeine on the bike. I wait till the run, because then when I'm hitting the run, I'm like, all right, yeah, caffeine time, right? And it's kind of like that psychological, you know, you're trying to hit, you know, whatever number you're trying to hit on your run. It's that nice little psychological bump that you're getting there. It's like, all right, I'm on the caffeine, life is good. So, you know, there's some psychological. Race sims, I would test the caffeine just to make sure you're cool with it. I personally don't use it on the bike. I definitely use it on the run, and the way I carry, that's probably a good thing to talk about. So you can talk to these guys about how to concentrate. You can put 3 hours in a bottle. I don't recommend that. I like simple, because the more you concentrate something, the more opportunity you have to do more or air. So probably half our customers do and half don't. The way I race for Ironman is I'm drinking a bottle of my Infinit an hour. I stop. I get 3 bottles, I'm done. And I drink a bottle an hour and then supplement with water. That's it. Race, I'm comfortable with a fuel belt. I know a lot of females don't like fuel belts because they end up under your rib cage, which is comfortable. So a couple of gel flasks of the napalm, a couple more at special needs. You know, you can get 400 to 500 calories in each gel flask with the napalm product. And so that's how I do it, and I'm totally self-sufficient. I don't use anything. I know weight, and this is the weight guy over here, but I mean, I just think that, well, yeah, I didn't mean that. Is that weight, to me, if you look at Lake Placid course, for example, beginning of that course is downhill flat. The hills are at the end. You're down to a bottle on that last series of climbs anyway. So just strategically, but to me, worrying about 40 ounces on your bike, you know, versus really having a bad run because you didn't do your nutrition right, because you messed something up. You know, it's 20 ounces, it's non-rotational, it's sitting on your bike. It's not like I'm strapping this stuff to your wheels, okay? So, I'm you know.
Nope, because, I mean, you're right, because even if you take the case of, you say, Ironman Florida, where it's flat, well, if you go through and map your power meters, you're not flat. You're constantly doing surges, and so you're constantly accelerating, decelerating a little bit. So weight matters a little bit, but really you'd have to put, essentially, you'd have to put about 8 pounds of weight on your bike to offset how many things go wrong when your nutrition isn't there for the run. So nobody's going to tote 8 pounds of fluid. So fuel enough. Got to have fuel for the run.
Yeah, and so that's kind of my point. You can concentrate a little bit, and that's fine and dandy. I just think if you really want a completely no-brainer race where you don't have to think about anything, that's the way to go. But having said that, there's tons of people that do concentrate and do it really successfully. So just test it.
And back to our caffeine question, is there a way to get like, I don't know, like a mix that is for training, maybe less caffeine and then more
Oh, yeah.
caffeine?
Yeah, and that's way, even our amateur racers, there's a lot of them set up that way. So they'll have, you know, if you're using the napalm product, which is made to concentrate, you know, we've got caffeinated and non-caffeinated. And then you can set up multiple custom formulas inside of your formula folder, so you can really have as much as you want. Yeah.
I have one question. Can you make a recovery drink?
We have recovery. Recovery, we can, but the limits of what we do for our, you don't need 20 grams of protein a bottle for during activity. It just, that you end up with Accelerate, which can get you really gassy. So we limit, you know, triathletes, they're type A. If one's good, four's got to be better. So they're all going to like crank stuff up and not figure out why they blow up. So we do have limits on our slider system for the hydration products, but for recovery, it's just a ton of protein, amino acids, and we use leucine, isoleucine, valine, and L-glutamine. Yeah, so that's our recovery product.
All right, and you can't,
It's your recovery.
can you customize the recovery?
No, logistically, it's a business decision, to be honest with you. I don't want to get into customizing recovery because it's awesome. It's phenomenally good product. It's all natural. Nothing we do has any colors in it whatsoever. Everything we do is clear. Everything's all natural. It's as GMO free as humanly possible, but in the United States, that's really difficult to do. So it's as clean, it's as natural as you're going to get. The mud makes great recovery too because it's a ton of protein. I mix that with some ice cubes and a frozen banana, and it's really good. So yeah.
It's also like a nighttime recovery too.
Yeah.
That you can drink before going to bed. It's got like tryptophan in it, so it helps you sleep. And
Called Nocturne.
It's just like whey based, or is
Actually, we're different. Our recovery products, all the muscle bodybuilders are now blending proteins. We blend carbs for higher oxidation rates and faster carb absorption. But in protein, we want a delayed absorption rate because it gives you a longer recovery duration. So we use 50% whey, 25% casein protein, and then 25% soy protein. I'm not a huge soy fan, but it's the slowest absorbing of all the proteins. So what you end up with, whey gets a ton of aminos in you quickly, but when you blend proteins, it gives you a longer duration, so you actually recover better. And that's all coming out of bodybuilding. You know, we learn from a lot of different genres. It doesn't have to be straight triathletes. We're innovators, but you know, there's other good sources of info. And I think we're the only company that's doing that. So that product's really, really good.
So it's there's repair and then nocturne.
Nocturne is the nighttime recovery.
And then do you guys have, what other like off-the-shelf products are there?
Well, there's the napalm product that we talked about. And again, that's just a ton of simple sugar and caffeine and salt. We've got a new version of napalm that's coming out that's going to be about 1,000 milligrams of sodium per 100 calorie serving.
Yeah.
You will pickle you. But it's really good. It's my elite pro guys that we gave it to, like the roadies that are doing the tours. They love it because it's instant. I mean, it just sucks anything that's out of your gut. Just like, whoa. It's really good. But it's super salty. It's not salty tasting, but it's a ton of salt. So you don't need the salt sticks, or use salt pills, or they're tough to handle. It hasn't officially yet, so I'm kind of telling you guys about it now. So if it's not something so when you talk to these guys, the napalm, if we can give them the real napalm. We have such quiet little unassuming names to product. Yeah, and we have our female product was actually called ISIS. We were out way before the terrorist organization was. So we're having to, I know, and it's ISIL. ISIL is right, and it was a great name. It's the number one Egyptian god. It was the female goddess of power and water and wind. I was like, oh, that's perfect. And and then terrorists came out. No, I'm probably going to stay low profile about it. But yeah, that's good. No, but it's actually going to go far for women and speed for women. Yeah, but ISIS and napalm, it's an interesting product mix we have going on right now. We have fun. It's a good time.
I was going to ask just like if I'm recommending, like I don't have a real refined palate to know what my favorite flavors are. So I'm like choosing mine for the first time, or other people to recommend. What are like your most popular?
Well, I know the shop really likes salted caramel a lot.
Those are nice because they don't have citric acid in the flavors, so it goes down real easy. I like those flavors like my real high intensity blends, because it'll go down easy. But I mean, we have 8 different flavor choices, and you can get the stuff in smaller bags to try it out.
Orange is the most neutral. Orange is one that you drink it. Yeah.
I like fruit punch.
Yeah. Anything, it's spray juice. I mean, we're using spray juices, so it's all natural. So you're not going to really go too wrong with any of our. It's not something like. All of our stuff is pretty good, so I don't think you're going to go too wrong. Orange is really neutral, so if you're drinking for 6 hours, it's kind of nice to have neutral. Lemon lime has a little bit of more tart to it than the orange does. Fruit punch is fruit punch, and then the salted caramel for an indoor workout is really nice. It's cold weather is really good, and our stuff doesn't freeze either because it does have a ton of salt in it. So our freezing point's actually way lower. So the cross country skiers love us because they don't freeze up. We've heard that a lot. Yeah. All right. So you guys have any other questions? So Ryan's your point of contact. Just go to the website, sign up for a consult, and we'll take care of the rest. And that's just like we would do for any of our customers. All right? Oh, my pleasure. You had anything to add?
No,